All right. Well, I'm live now. I'll tell you that. Uh, I mean, why go live? I'm just curious because I've been practicing on the TikTok, which is an interesting platform. Let me tell you that. But then, I don't know about you, but I'm on Facebook. I have a regular account that now has like a following or what have you. I have this page. I have many other pages, many other pages, many Facebook groups, Instagram, and Threads, which is like all part of Meta. I have X, which used to be Twitter. What else do I have? I have Blue Sky. I'm pretty sure I have a Tumblr. I have YouTube, TikTok. I used to have MySpace and LiveJournal. You know, my point being that social media is everywhere. And I've been on it. You know, I'm turning 50 this year. I've been living in Ottawa for 30 years almost. I have been in Ontario for nearly 50 years. So, you know, the world is ever changing, it's ever evolving. It's pretty interesting because I've been in Ottawa for 30 years and I have people who follow my pages, which, you know, provides me great insights. But for the most part, my followers are guys between the ages of 18 and probably about 35. Uh, and it's interesting, you know, because there are some people who uh, take interest of me on one platform, and there's people who take interest on me across platforms. You know, all of that is an adventure to be chosen by whoever's following me. That's the beauty of it. But we also have our own experience too, right? And what I can say is I'm just really thankful for how the evolution in digital life is really taking a turn for um, security, accessibility, education, self determination, but it can be really, like, it can be a lot to navigate, right? Um, TikTok's interesting to me because I honestly can't figure it out. It's befuddling. Now, I imagine for the average person, they probably know it in and out and wouldn't think anything of it. But for me, when there's more than one thing going on, I don't know. It takes me a little bit of extra time. But I've been using it. It's been pretty cool. I've been reading and doing a card reading and things like this, and it's really cool how people are more interactive. So they'll use the heart feature. They'll use like all sorts of stuff that way. Um, the creativity is interesting because it's really just a bunch of people looking to get attention, right? And then there's a whole element of like reciprocity or, gift giving or so there's a lot of people who are using it to try to improve their lives, right? Um, so it's really kind of cool to compare the vibe of Facebook and the vibe of TikTok. Definitely interesting to see it from the perspective of recent events in Mexico, with how things were reported and the style of reporting and the vibe and the energy. But then also the accessibility for people to reach out to people who, are culturally aware, are aware of world events, right? And impacted in a day to day way. So it's been really good to be able to um, keep up and catch up and to know people whom are in our hearts are safe. Um, so yeah. It's kind of interesting as well to sort of see how Facebook is shifting. So while there's a heavy push for AI and AI resources, and the truth of the matter is what's really wanted and needed and what's being cultivated are the experiences and the stories of people. And so it's interesting to sort of see um, who's online, what they're posting, why they might be posting it. But I'll tell you, in my own lived experience, Facebook is a wonderful social media, messengers, WhatsApp, all those things. They're really great documenters. We go through a series of choices. Now, any human goes through a series of choices. And really, like in any sort of real world I'm in, right? I know the people in my circle of influence. I know my neighbors. I can reach out and touch them. I know the challenges in my local area. I can walk outside and see them. I know who the politicians are and who the law enforcement folks are. I know who's been around for 30 years and I know who's been around for 3 months. Um, this is just what we get to learn when we put in time and when it's important to us, right? So I try to curate and cultivate spaces that I want to be in, that reflect who I am, reflect what I'm capable of. And it's really, really, really been a very cool journey of seeing how just by sticking it out, just by tuning in, turning on, speaking up, speaking out, telling my truth, whether or not anybody believes it. It's a really great way of filtering out the bullshit. Um, it's really a great way for people to take accountability, because even if it's a fake account, that fake account was born of an agreement. It was born of a device, of a motivation, right? And so it's been interesting to see how um, personal attacks or individual attacks or group type of attacks uh, that are very poignant, very local, very individual, how they get sort of masked or hidden amongst the chaos, I guess, of the platforms. So these are just reflections. These are just, it's a momentary check-in. Live is a place where I've checked in before. My own live, I might even do that just to compare. Because even people who follow me here, they don't follow my personal account. And so they don't know if it's the same thing or a different thing. And actually, my personal account gets much more reach because, again, they're looking for people stories, not what the platform tends to become, which is, at least in my experience, it's been organizations or things that use just blanket sort of AI generated nothingness. And that actually acts as a divider. Because if we're not using virtual and or in-person spaces in meaningful ways, well then we're actually adding to the divide. We're not closing it. And what I find, especially now in 2026, is anybody who just has had a frivolous claim, or anybody who has maybe not been really forthcoming with others, there's a real exposure of a double standard, a duality. And so we really, we have an opportunity here to reflect on how are we using these spaces, and for what purpose and what motivation. I'm forever learning, and the interesting thing is that there's really just a few people left in my world who just absolutely feel like they need the last word or the upper hand. And so sometimes it's just a matter of waiting until their own actions, their own words, or their inability to sustain peters out. Every day is just practice. This is practice. Even if nobody watches it. And for much of the content, nobody does. Because again, I'm not in here jumping at, balloons or scaring people, pranking people, telling lies, inciting issues, people siding with each other. I have always just journaled my experiences. my thoughts, my feelings, my reactions, my fears, my opinions, my observations, and I'm here. And I'm thankful. And I will be back again and again and again. You can see my dog Bo laying on the couch. I'm looking forward to working on a few different projects. On TikTok right now, I'm doing a practice, so I'll do it here and then I'll close out. But I've had a practice of reading tarot or oracle cards as a mindfulness cultivation practice. And one of the reasons why I like it is because of the improvisational nature of it. So even in what I just reflected on, and I don't know if I remember everything I said. I know that it all just came from the heart. It's something I call the Dharma talk. So it's just like not being precious, just letting it out as if I'm holding in a fart, so to speak. But this practice is just to see what happens. See if anything that I just shared resonates, or I can actually just leave it all behind and simply see what my next step is, or what is the greater wisdom. So this is going to be what I will use. Oh, I love the image. It's the 9 of Hearts, and it says fulfillment, harmony, and protection. And it's got a tree with some pretty cool symbols. The background of this and the Gaia is Greek and Egyptian roots. This is the guidebook that comes along with it. So what I like to do is I like to just read the message that the originating artist did. Because as much as I think I know all or see all or be all, and I do have sensitivities and gifts, I don't need it to be about me all the time. So the 9 of Hearts, this card signifies success, emotional fulfillment, and wisdom. Something that is dear to you, or something that you are working towards has a positive outcome. This leads to a period of peace and harmony and a deep sense of personal satisfaction and emotional fulfillment. That which you strive to create and achieve is granted, and all is protected along the way. The light shines upon you. All is blessed. You can move toward or forward with confidence. And the affirmation here is I am blessed, I am protected, I'm grateful, I am fulfilled, and I am loved. And there's less than a minute. I'm going to try to close this off at 20 minutes. But the Gaia, so the word oracle, which signifies prophecy, stems from ancient Greece and Rome. An oracle was traditionally a shrine where, through the medium of a priest or priestess, the gods and goddesses were consulted and prophetic advice was sought. The oracle is any person or thing believed to indicate future action. The ancient Greeks and Romans held strong spiritual beliefs and often sought advice from the oracle before undertaking any significant course of action. Throughout the past centuries, the oracle has taken on many forms and has reappeared in the form of cards, sets such as this one. And so, yeah, that's that. And this has been 20 minutes. So that's my practice. Take care.